episode here with your boy. I'm Lewis, and our friend Karen Deep is at McDonald's and wherever the hell he is because his Wi-Fi is horrible. So he's only doing audio today. No video. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But he's like in some like odd McDonald's in the middle of like the fuck nowhere. That's how bad his Wi-Fi is. He has like 2G wherever the hell he is. Um, but did you have good enough Wi-Fi to watch those two podcasts? I told you about Patrick Bet David, two episodes he had. Are you there? Okay, he's gone. He's out. All right. Well, there are these two episodes on Value Entertainment, Valuetainment, I guess. With Patrick Bet David, Adam, Tom, Vinny. He had Anthony Weiner, the disgraced congressman. I guess it's kind of funny. People don't really know who he is because Adam, who's from really, Miami native, he had no clue about these charges. Patrick, who, was in Los Angeles and then moved to Miami, that's where they are now, had no clue what he was doing. And Karen Deep is gone. So he'll be rejoining us soon, I guess. Yeah, so they had like no idea who like well they knew who he was, but they had like no there was like no, idea, what he'd been through. They just knew the big stuff. He was married to Huma Abedin. And then he was arrested for well, he went to jail for several things, I guess. I guess the most criminal charge in his view, although he denies that he should have went to jail. No, that's funny. It's like a guy who was sexting a minor, I think she was like 16 years old, thought he didn't deserve to go to jail. That's like insane to me. And then he had another one with Chris Cuomo today. We're recording on Saturday, the 22nd. This might come out tomorrow, Sunday or something, or maybe tonight. But yeah, he was like he did not enjoy the he did not enjoy let's see if he rejoins this thing. It's connecting. Oh my god. Yeah, he's we're gonna try to get Karen D back. But yeah, we're I saw the episode and what I like about Patrick is that he brings on other people, although Anthony Weiner thinks that, he brings on easy guys. It's like he brought Alex Jones on like twice and now he thinks are you back? Did you join? Can we hear you? Can the people hear you?
Yo, I love McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, he has me. Yeah. Well, I was talking about the two episodes that Patrick Bet David did. Because I guess I'll just talk about those and like, how much well, I really enjoy that podcast. I don't know about you, but I like watch it almost religiously. I watch like every episode. And
I mean,
lately he's been bringing on a lot of like left-leaning guests, Jeffrey Toobin, Anthony Weiner, Chris Cuomo today. He's had
oh
some other
really?
people on.
I still need to watch that one.
Which one? Chris Cuomo?
Chris Cuomo, yeah.
What about Toobin?
I only saw clips of it. I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, you know who Toobin was, right? The guy who
The one that jerked off for CNN.
yeah, the guy who jerked off on Zoom. Ironically, the
Yeah.
same thing we're on. We're on Zoom. So maybe
I
you will participate in that.
ooh kinky.
Yeah, and then there's Anthony Weiner, the guy who went to jail. I don't know if he went to jail for sexting a 15-year-old or 16-year-old. I don't know because I think maybe his charges are other charges. But the fact that he thought he shouldn't have gone to jail despite doing that. Oh, I think he went to jail for sexting a staffer. I think that's what he went to jail for.
I thought he was sexting a minor.
He was.
He went to
No, he
jail.
was
He
doing
went to
that.
jail.
No, he went.
To
Oh,
jail for like 2 years.
yeah, but he went to jail for that. But he's done this like several times. Like this is not. He didn't sext once. He sexted like several times, like a lot of people.
Oh, right.
And he admitted it. And then like he had the nerve to say that I didn't deserve to go to jail for that. And the judge said I didn't deserve to go to jail for that. No, sir, you deserve to be in jail still. Like I get it. He's actually like a convicted sex offender for I guess harassing a staffer. I think that's why. I think he was because of staffer. And he has his documentary out, which he claims he didn't watch because he wanted to be able to say I didn't watch it.
Wait, is he still with his kids and his is his wife? Are they like separated? Or are
They're
they still together?
divorced. They're completely divorced by
Okay.
now. No, yeah, no,
Okay.
they're like years divorced, and but they were separated like at the time. Like I think by the time like Hillary was running for president, I think they had been separated, not fully divorced yet, but like separated. But I think by the time um he got caught again for I think with the minor, I think that's when
Mm,
I think that's when shit really hit the fan, and they're trying to use. I like how he tried to use it as an excuse as to why Hillary lost. It's like because he was sexting a minor. It's like no, this is just the reason you should be in jail. Like
right.
don't use this as the reason Hillary lost. Hillary lost for legitimate reasons, not because of Jill Stein or because of the third parties or because of like no, they lost because of like her, not you. Don't give yourself credit, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Yeah. What did you think about him?
Right. Well, first thing, I think to be honest, though, I think Patrick might become my favorite podcaster.
He is.
Yeah, it's because of where he started from and now where he's at right now, and the guests that he's bringing in, and the way he carries himself. Dude's fucking thing, man. It really is.
Yeah. I've been a fan for a while. For you know
Right.
that. I've been a fan for a big while, probably for like the last year. Um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, honestly, like definitely for more than the last year. He's brought on all these guests before. Like Alex Jones was on the show last year. He had Sebastian Gorka on before. Like he has like these repeat like Rudy Giuliani was on before. Like David Rubin was on this week. Um, I guess we can talk about some DeSantis later on, but let's just stick with this first. Like Dave
Hey,
Rubin's on before. He's hot on like the fresh and fit guys who are frauds, but he's had them on. He's hot on
he's had everyone.
Destiny. He's had on Pac-Man. Like he's had on like liberals on his show, and he
Mm-hmm.
wants to bring on more, which is like the thing. It's not like he's doing it because we're gonna have like this time where we're gonna bring. No, he's doing it because it's like we're reaching out, and whoever wants to come on, come on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's what he's about. Like we're gonna have this conversation, but um, I love how Anthony was trying to pretend as if he didn't know the guys and like I'm above you guys. I'm giving you guys a shot because I want to know what this is about. It's like, dude, nobody knows you. Nobody
Yeah.
knows you for the
The,
for the right reasons.
the only time I know Anthony Weiner when Trump was talking to him this
When he was
about him.
talking shit, right? Exactly.
Yeah, that was the only time I knew who Anthony Weiner was. I didn't
Yeah.
know him like religiously, but
Yeah. The only reason
um,
I knew him was because I'm a loser who follows politics. That's why I know him. And because his wife is kind of pretty to me, in my opinion. And I
yeah,
was
she's
like,
pretty.
yeah, why are you married to this like jackass? And he is a I'm like listening to him, I'm just like, this is how you know. This is when I like it reconfirms this idea that most marriages in politics are just bullshit. They're not real.
Right.
They're not real. Like, how can she either she's also a complete asshole, which she might be, and I don't really know, but it's like, how are you with this guy? Like, how are you with this man? Like, to me, that's like completely like insane a thought to like to be married to a guy like this for years. Because the way he comes off is like he's a male Karen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he sounds like to me. He's a male Karen, and he is a jackass. Like he's everything you wouldn't. He's like your typical Washington elite. He's an ass, and then he comes off as like, "Oh, I'm not an elite because I was primaried." Everybody's primaried in like in New York City politics. Everybody. AOC primaried. I think his name was like John or like Jeff Crowley or Joe Crowley, and then who was the incumbent for like 11 years, I think, or 11 terms, and lost. Like this happens a lot. Like primaries happen. They happen in Republican and Democratic circles. The idea that you're primaried is not to say you're not like, oh, I'm not the establishment because I got primaried. It's like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I guess he kept denying the fact that he's not from the establishment. What do you
Yeah,
think about that?
your wife is the chief of staff, the future chief of staff, and the literally the personal secretary of Hillary Clinton, and not just during the campaign, but for years since she was like, a senator, and then the secretary of state, and then then after that, but like she's been like a lot like next to this woman for years, and you're married to this woman, you have children. Yeah, you're establishment, buddy. You're establishment just by connection, and then You've been a congressman for several years now. Obviously, you're establishment, and you have ranking, and you have high. You're on committees. You're establishment. You know what I mean? You do whatever they say. You're establishment. You have no spine. So it's like this idea that, oh, I wasn't because they didn't defend you, a convicted sex offender. What? What? They got rid of Andrew Cuomo, buddy. They'll get rid of anybody if it doesn't matter. Come on, don't play games.
Right.
Yeah. So like that was like that episode was. I watched it live, and it was like just seeing. It got real to me. It got really real to me when I saw like when the camera would cut to Adam, and he's just like carefully watching them.
Yeah,
Like
I saw that.
he wasn't smiling. Like he was like literally concerned. Like what the like I could just see it. Like he was probably shocked. Like okay, this guy's really getting to. This is heated. This is legit heated. Like
Hmm.
people throw that word around on YouTube and they say like heated discussion. No, this was heated. This was heated. This
No,
was
it was legit. It
this
was
was
legit.
one personal word, one personal like attack, and someone's getting body slammed, and it's gonna be like Anthony Weiner getting body slammed. That's just what it is. And then Patrick handled that beautifully because the guy was really like he was throwing personal shots and then pretending as if this is what I hate when people do that. They throw personal shots and then they pretend like, oh, I'm the victim. You did this to me. I'm standing up for people. No, you're not. You're throwing personal shots at people.
Hmm. Right.
When he said, like, you're a bully. This is what you guys do. You're bullies. And you guys didn't expect me. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to treat you that way. I was just asking. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Don't try to see how they change things up. It's like, I was just trying to ask you how you say your name. Is it Patrick? Or do you call yourself? Like, first he lied. You could tell he lied because at first he was like, I wanted to know how your name was. Like, did you use the full name, Bet David,
Or
or Pat, or Patrick? Because people call me Tony. It's like, stop lying, buddy. Stop lying. Because you were pretending. Because he was pretending that he didn't know them.
there was one part that uh where I found those. He said that when Bill Clinton was president, he was not part of the establishment, but now he's around. Now he's the establishment. Kind of confusing. Like, how does that make
Now,
any sense?
okay. Now he's half right. There's a half truth in everything, and everything these people say. There's a half truth. Now, Bill Clinton at one point was not the establishment. That's just
Okay.
a fact. Now, he was the governor of Arkansas for like one term, I think, or a term and a half, and then he wasn't even like the current governor when he ran for office. I don't even think I'd have to look into that, but he has this weird political history. He wasn't now he wasn't establishment as in that, he wasn't Michael Dukakis. Now, Michael Dukakis was definitely establishment. He was like like, yeah, no, he wasn't even like the governor. He was the governor until December. Oh, okay. So he resigned being the governor, I guess,
Okay.
and then ran. I guess, oh, okay. So he resigned and then, okay. So he was,
And
two
then was
non-consecutive terms. Oh, I see.
okay.
So he ran. This is weird. Well, he ran. He was a governor. Then he didn't. Then he wasn't, and then he was again. Weird. Well, yeah, he had a lot of baggage. I'm not gonna say he was establishment. He really was an establishment, but he became the establishment because he had done something that people hadn't done in a while, which was defeat a Republican president by a wide margin. Like Jimmy Carter won in 1976, and it wasn't a wide margin, but he won
Hmm.
obviously for like several reasons. They were tired, I guess, of the corruption in government, and they saw this guy. Now, Jimmy Carter was definitely an outsider in the Democratic Party.
Right.
I mean, he
Right.
was the
Right.
governor of a southern state. He was the Democratic governor of a state that was turning red over time. Definitely give that credit. And then he was a farmer before that. Like he was a normal guy, and he leans far more progressive than most presidents, authentically progressive, where it's like I'm not just progressive because my party is leading. It's that he has always been progressive. Um,
Hmm.
but Bill Clinton was none of that. Bill Clinton was new. He was what they hadn't been able to do. He was one of them. He was a white collar, Wall Street corporate Democrat. They weren't like that before him. Like he was literally the poster boy for that movement, like the good old boys club. Like he was the country club corporate Democrat. Like he embraced Wall Street. He embraced big corporations, trade, oil, uh, while pretending to be for the people. And he wasn't. And then you saw the racist things that he and his wife said, like Hillary would say. And then people like Joe Biden. Like Joe Biden is like, he's not a product of that, but he's a key member of that movement. You know what I mean? Because then that's when
Yeah.
Joe Biden rose to fame, like you know, the Clarence Thomas hearings, and then he ran for president in
Right.
'92, and then dropped out for plagiarism. Like he was a big figure in that, like people knew who he was. And then when he was, and then he was a big deal in the Senate for a lot of years, even though he was always stupid. Like he was always a stupid, and he was always a jackass, and he was always
Hmm.
arrogant. That's what people will
Hmm.
tell you. Joe Biden, before he got dementia, was always a jackass and arrogant. Like he was Anthony Weiner, arrogant, and he thought he was better than smarter than you. And Joe Biden like shows signs of that every now and again, where he says, "Oh, I'm smarter than you. Oh, I'm not an idiot." Oh,
That right there was an interesting comparison with her.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. There's a half truth, but was he completely like not? No, he was like you could say that maybe he made a deal. It's like, look, when I get in there, we're gonna do all this stuff, and when people believe this lie, I always tell people it's like don't confuse this. Like if Al Gore was president when instead of Bush, we would have still gone to Iraq. We would have still gone to Afghanistan. We would have been bombing Yemen still, because guess what? Bill Clinton bombed Yemen. We would have been doing a lot of it. We would have been doing all of that. Don't pretend for a moment that they would have been different, that they would have been anti-war, because they weren't. They were some of the biggest
Hmm.
cheerleaders for that war. And then when they realized the war was not successful, they flipped and said, "You're killing people." It's like, well, you wanted this. Don't forget. Hillary wanted this. They all wanted this. You think Barack Obama again is well, Barack Obama was completely different. Barack Obama made a deal with the establishment and made everybody joined the establishment. He joined them. He was useful to them and
Well,
then joined them. He's a complete puppet.
it's a good thing you mentioned about the war stuff, because that's why I'm here sitting and thinking like, yeah, Bill Clinton was always the war and everything else that Democrat like.
Yeah.
That,
It was
that's
like
why I got so confused with Anthony's statement right there, saying that he was not the establishment when he was running for president.
he was not, but then he was. And then but
Okay,
then he
okay,
was, because
right, okay.
he not only was he then joined the establishment, he installed himself in the power structure. He made himself known, like something Jimmy Carter didn't do, is like set up and like bring people in, you know what I mean? Like Alex Jones probably explained this the best, but there's like we seem to think that they're all on the same team in these parties. No, there's different wings of people. Don't think the Bidens and the Clintons are on the same team in the Democratic Party. They are outside, but not inside. They all have their different interests, and they have like like think of it like a clique, like a high school. Like you're like there's like these different clubs, not clubs, but like these different groups, like the cool kids, and then like the cliques, and then it's like this the cool girls and then the goth girls, and then like you know what I mean,
Right,
and they're
right,
all like
right.
competing for like attention of some sort, like they're all competing against each other. That's kind of what it's like. And then there's like a Biden wing, and then Biden has his people, and then there's the Obamas, and the Obamas have their people, and you know who they are. They're Susan Rice, they're Loretta Lynch, they're Eric Holder,
Mm-hmm.
that's their people. And then there's the Clinton wing, which is everybody else, literally everybody else. There's the Clintons, obviously, and then it's John Kerry, and then it's people in the military establishment, Leon Panetta, and then all the other people that work for them, that's surrounding them, like um, Huma Abedin, who was part of the establishment. Like there's so many names I could rattle off. I'm just like losing track right now,
Mm-hmm.
but
Right, no, it's
that's
fine.
how it
Yeah.
works. And then like we obviously see in the Republican Party when we say establishment, who is that? The Bushes, the McCains, or that used to be them, but obviously
Mm-hmm.
the Bushes, the neoconservatives. Like that's that fan. But these are wings, because remember the McCains didn't like the Bushes before, but they were on the
Right.
same side politically, ideologically,
Yeah.
but they were just competing for power. So it's like they're competing for power, but they're kind of on the same board. They just want to have the hands on the levers. They want to be doing they want to be controlling things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing. So yeah, he wasn't, but then he joined them, And guess what? Because he was president, he had his fingers on the lever, and then he cemented himself in the power structure until today, until now, where he's pretty much saying, me and my wife, or Hillary mainly now, because I guess Bill's not really doing much, but Hillary now is controlling things. She's influencing. She's saying things. She goes out and she says things. And it doesn't matter to us because we're conservatives, but so the Democrats, it does matter. She runs the show. The Obamas run the show. The Clintons run the show. The Bidens have influence. And then there's a bunch of other people who, the liberals in the State Department and then the military establishment that like them. They all there's a bunch of voices, like different like wings. But obviously the Clintons are the biggest one. So no, he's like a half truth. When he was running for president, no. But then he got in and he cemented himself. It's like what Trump is doing. Like Trump, yeah. Like he likes to say, well, Trump was the establishment. Yes and no. He tried to kick out the current establishment and say, guess what? The Republican Party no longer believes in you guys, the Bushes and the McCains and the Christies and the Romneys and the Paul. We don't like them. The Jim Boehners, we don't like them. We reject all of them. The Cheneys, it's a complete rejection. This is now a Trump party, the MAGA party. And we're going to have the Trumps and the Steve Bannons and Alex Jones is in here and Vivek is a follower. And we have, Byron Donalds and, JD Vance and Ted Cruz. And like, that's our wing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a power struggle. So that's what and then, so when he says that, it's like, there's like, it's like, there's a lot of nuance to it and there's a lot of context that needs to be added, but he's saying half truths that yes, he was president. So logically, yes, he should be the establishment, but he wasn't because they never accepted him. He was like, and I keep hearing this when I listen to these episodes when like the Peter Navarros come on and the Alex Jones and the Steve Bannons and all these other people that were around him, when they keep telling us that Trump came to Washington literally by himself. There was nobody that was willing to work with him. And so he had to put up with the people that he could get, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Sessions and Chris Wray. And it makes sense, but then there's people like the DeSantis, I guess we'll talk about him, who like say these ridiculous things and they're like, oh, I would have hired the right people. They're not going to, like, in 2023, it's easy to say that. But in 2017, when the Republican Party has been neoconservative and corporate for 30 years, ever since, George H.W. Bush took power, since 1988, pretty much, or let's put 1989. Ever since then, I mean, it's difficult to find people all of a sudden that are now going to be in favor of tariffs, in favor of being hawkish on China instead of Russia, who want to cut spending, including defense spending if it matters, hard on our, hard lining on immigration because, we're going to enforce the laws and apparently that's extreme. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be difficult to find people who want that.
Right.
And to find votes in the Republican Party and then nonetheless try to convince some Democrats to defect, like Sinema or Manchin or Sherrod Brown, who never did it, but, or Heidkamp at the time, who did because she thought it would help save her job. It didn't. Or Tester, who was going to lose his job in 2024, but because he's like the only Democrat in Montana. But things like that, like it's complicated. This idea that Ron DeSantis is going to get in and then say, hey, we're going to fix everything because guess what? I'm going to hire the right people. That works on paper. Like it's great on paper, but you have to have a plan when things don't work out. And Trump's the only person that I've seen can do that. Like who can move on his feet and say, oh, that's not going to work. Okay, well, like I can't call you crooked. Well, I'm going to call you gay. You know what I mean? And then that sticks. You know what I mean? Like he finds a way to make things stick. Because as Patrick's show is really about marketing. When he talks about DeSantis, he really cares about the marketing. Like DeSantis sucks because he can't market himself. And maybe because he's boring. Because DeSantis is boring. He's bland. He's like broccoli. Bleh. You know what I mean?
Hey, broccoli's good.
But it's boring.
Broccoli.
Yeah, but people like Takis and KFC and Pepsi and Coke, and they like Trump, and Trump is all of that, and he's big. Why? It's bad for you, but why can't we have it? You know what I mean? And it's not bad for you. It's good for you because look at him. He's eating KFC, but it's good. You know what I mean? It's not bad. It's good. Keep doing it. Why can't we keep doing it? It's like Trump is like saying, why can't we keep this show rolling? You know what I mean? Let's keep the show going, folks. It's like, why can't we? We're going to have fun. DeSantis, it's like, policy HB 59. Can we get that out, please? And then we're gonna read this, and then this bill says it's like no, nobody cares about Bill HBQ one on whatever the fuck that is. Like no one cares. Nobody cares about that.
Right.
Everybody wants to hear, hey, I'm gonna slap a 125% tariff on China if they tariff me, if they put one on us. Because screw them. We're not gonna like people want to hear that. They want to hear what are you doing? What are we doing and why? And like and Trump in his very Trump way says why. Because we're getting screwed. That's why. It's like, yeah. That's like, yeah, dumb it down. Because guess what? People don't pay attention to HB 59. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Right.
have I
Right.
ever mentioned a bill to you? Like, oh, the HB 59 that DeSantis passed. Never. I'm not doing that. It's, you know what? We have to put tariffs because guess what? Mexico puts tariffs on us and France does it too. And China does. So that's why we're putting tariffs. You know what I mean? That's what people want. And Patrick says that. And Adam says that because guess what? They've met with DeSantis and his team before. And then he had Dave Rubin on and he was talking about I guess he was mentioning like he was going through that like, hey, and then Dave didn't want to hear this because Dave's like simping for DeSantis hard. He's the simp.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
So he doesn't want to hear any criticism. And any criticism he says it's like, well, it's early. It's like, yeah, but it's also not because I keep hearing people say that over and over again. 2024 is like around the corner. Like this is when people started on like Trump announced, I think August or September of 2015. It's August. You know what I mean? Like it's August. The show is getting started. You know what I mean? And people were dropping
Mhm.
out by now. And hey, Scott Walker kind of like dropped out, and Jeb Bush, who were leading when Trump got in, they were leading. They were leading, and then guess what? Trump gets in, and like 2 months later, they're not leading anymore. And then a couple months later, they're gone. DeSantis has been in this show since what, February now? It's about to be like 6 months, and and you're not going up, you're going down. And there's people like Vivek who started out at like 2%. They're now like in third place, bud, and they're getting double digits sometimes. And people like him.
Yeah. He's out there putting his stuff. Ron is I forget who mentioned it. I don't know if it was Anthony or Adam, but one of them said that he's pussy, which obviously yeah, I agree because he's not even out there
Yeah,
doing
that's what
his
Anthony
stuff.
said. That's what we
Oh,
Anthony
yeah, it was
said.
Anthony. You're right. Right.
And then yeah, and then but he said it in a way, too late. We could have had a good discussion on this podcast, but you decided to be a jackass.
Yeah.
Like he is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, Ron's not out there trying to market himself and put himself out
He's
there and I'm
not.
gonna be the next president. Trump is doing his thing. He's
Trump is
doing his
out and
thing.
he's saying Trump is being Trump. He's being like he was back then. It's like, hey, I'm number one. You better come out and beat me. And then like,
And you got Vivek, who is a outsider. I don't know if even knows who he is, and all of a sudden now this guy might have a possible chance in passing Ron. He really
yeah,
does have a chance.
he does because guess
But
what?
he's
He's
smart.
real.
He's out there doing his thing. Yeah.
He's real.
Yeah,
He
that
says
too.
things. He's not, hey, he says things
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should. Now, is anything Vivek? Now, if Vivek became president, he would not get anything done. That's just the truth. He wouldn't.
No,
He would not.
no, right. No, I
Nothing
know.
would get done.
Yeah.
He would not be able to, like, he would not be able to end the Department of Education. He would not be able to end anything, the IRS. No. And sometimes, trust me, look, I'm a conservative,
No,
but I'm not a libertarian. I'm not.
I,
Who's going to
I,
collect our
I feel
taxes?
like Vivek's too. I feel like Vivek's too soft. He really is.
Well, it's not soft. It's like he's like in La La Land sometimes. Sometimes people live in La La Land. Like, I wish we could get rid of the IRS. Trust me, I don't want to pay my taxes. But guess what? Who's going to collect our taxes and then pay the
Mm-hmm.
soldiers and then pay for the people on the border for our homeland security? Like, who's going to collect the taxes and estimate how much we got in taxes? Because guess what? They don't just collect taxes. They estimate how much we got, who did we get them from, where they're going to go. That's what they do. Now, not obviously accurately because, there is corruption, but still, like, who's going to do all that? Vivek at home on QuickBooks?
Quick, but
Like, what are we doing here? Like, I get it, like, but it's not realistic. Like, has Trump ever said he's going to get rid of the IRS? No, he says I'm just going to cut the shit out of its budget. That's what I'm going to do. Because why do they need
right,
87,000 people? It's like he's not
right,
exploding the
exactly.
system. then the people like DeSantis like I'm gonna cut I'm gonna get rid of the Department of Education. Okay, well, good, but and do what with it? And do what? Like, what are we gonna do?
Who said that? Or Trump?
DeSantis did. DeSantis. Everything Vivek said, now DeSantis is saying.
Didn't Trump once to I don't know if to abolish, but he wants to defund the Department of Education.
Yeah, he does. But I think I think he said that if they don't do what they're supposed to do, he's gonna get rid of them. It's like,
But it's like a work. How does that work? Like,
that's my question. It's like, well, what's gonna? Well, the first question is like, what do they do there at the Department of Education? It's like,
right.
well, they devise national curriculum. And by the way, the universities and the way they give out their credits, the credit system, and their accreditation systems, that's all federal. That's all federally managed. That's not managed by them or an independent group. That's all managed by the federal government. So who's going to do that? Like, who's going to oversee the universities?
You?
Me?
Yeah.
How? At home on QuickBooks?
Yeah, sure. Figure it out. I don't know.
Exactly. Like
you're
that's literally what Ron
you're a
DeSantis
smart
is
man.
saying. That's like, I mean,
You're a smart man.
That's literally what Ron DeSantis is saying. It's like, oh, we'll figure it out. Just vote for me. It's like,
right.
no, I don't want to. First of all, you're boring. You're bad. You're like broccoli. But like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then it's like, yeah. And so then Patrick, and Patrick's the marketer. And so yeah, DeSantis has been, campaigning like a pussy. I mean, now they've like done a pivot. Now he's gonna do Megyn Kelly's show. Now all of a sudden, now Trump's gonna do the Megyn Kelly show. Now DeSantis wants to do it first. He wants to do the DeSantis. He wants to go on Megyn Kelly's show first. Okay, all right. Now you think, but it's kind of too late though, because you know what it's like. Ron. Pat was talking about this. It's like, and it's true. If if 10 different people in the media say the same thing, it's like, hey, I can't really get a hold of the DeSantis campaign. Nobody really wants to talk about when he's available for a sit down. He only wants to do like 10, 20 minutes. He really prefers Fox News until they started bashing him again. He doesn't want to do 2 hours. He doesn't want to do 1 hour. He doesn't want to do 30 minutes. He only wants to do 10 to 20 minutes. It's like, okay, well, that's not gonna work. And then
he's just half-assing his work. What the fuck?
it's like, okay, and then he brags about, and then he was on Fox bragging about that. Like, he had an event and 40 people showed up. What? Who brags about 40 people showed up? He bragged about it. He was on Fox and he said, wow, we had 40 people at our restaurant and they were having fun. It's like, okay, first of all, don't ever use fun and an event in the same sentence. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And then it's like, if 40 people were showing up to Trump's event, he would cancel. He would just be like, there's a tornado happening. There's a tornado. Remember that?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I do.
By the way, there was a tornado warning, and there was like a tornado somewhere in the area. They just did a
yeah. Where was this? Wasn't this
It was in Iowa. It was in Iowa. Yeah.
Right.
And then remember, DeSantis had an event like completely far distant away from where that area was, and then they try to play it off like, oh, Trump was afraid of us. He's not really about this. It's like, and then guess what? Nobody's really talking about the tornado over again. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares about the tornado, bro. Nobody cares. But guess what? He has a reputation of, I'm campaigning like a pussy. I'm boring. I'm difficult to get a hold of, but Trump is very easy to get a hold of. Like Megyn Kelly was at the teen was at the what's that called? Turning Point, right? Turning Point USA. And she saw Trump,
right.
And she met with Trump behind the scenes. And they met with the teams, and then then she met with him one-on-one, quick conversation. And she said, like, everything. This is what I like about her. Outside that, she's really hot, and she's gonna be my wife soon. But I can't say that with a straight face.
Because everyone's your wife.
I know. And then she says like, and then what I like about her is like how they had this like big issue like back in 2015 with the only, what's her name? Only that fat bitch. What's her name?
OnlyFans.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Wait, what? Oh, she was trying to say OnlyFans.
Remember that lady? He was like only Rosie O'Donnell.
Only Rosie O'Donnell, and she was like, "No," trying to deny
And then
it.
the crowd went wild.
Right, right.
And then the crowd went wild. And then like that was the beginning of this, the beginning of Trump not the beginning, but like that was like the beginning story. Like people were like, "Oh shit, you can say that?" And then no other Republican dared to say it. They were like, "I don't know if I want to say it like that." It's like, well, because you're not him. He doesn't care. And that's why I like about
Right.
Patrick. I guess to end with the Patrick stuff. It's like Patrick is rich not because of YouTube, but before YouTube. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
He's a
yeah.
multi-millionaire.
Right.
Like he could care less if Andrew Tate. He looks at Andrew Tate. Yeah, we're on the same level, buddy. Like I have Bugattis too. Like I can afford a
Right,
Bugatti.
right.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't need 20 of them. And I have a family, and I have this, and I have a company, and I do marketing. Like they do marketing. They don't do insurance anymore because they sold the company for a lot of money. You know, not
What company?
a real company, not Prime America.
What company?
I forget the name. I think they changed the name as soon as they bought it. But he had a company that had like that was like, you know, that had like I guess like thousands of registered agents, and you know they did well. They were successful. They sold like life insurance and stuff like that. You know, life insurance,
Well,
did like investments and stuff like that. Anyways,
quickly, since we're on the same topic with Patrick, why do you think Anthony was very annoyed the fact that Patrick was bringing up Clinton body kills, like the whole list of body kills that's like the same people that was around with Clinton. Why do you think he was so annoyed by that?
now, yeah. So I don't, because it's a conspiracy. That's one of my favorite conspiracies because some of the funniest shit happens, dude. Have you ever followed it closely?
Say it again.
Have you ever looked into it? The body list?
Nah,
It's
not
called the
really.
Clinton body
Nah,
list. No?
nah.
Oh yeah. Some of them are most. I'm sorry to say this because people actually died, but this is like
Right,
the most
right.
hilarious. Like some of the way people die is hilarious. We could talk about them next. Because we already talked about like DeSantis. You know, DeSantis is the pussy and stuff, and we're talking about Pat and everything. I don't know why, because he wasn't around for most of it. He was only really around. The biggest one was really Seth Rich. That was kind of, I think, the biggest last. I guess obviously Jeffrey Epstein is the other one. After Seth, but Seth Rich. Remember Seth Rich, right?
No, I don't remember.
No, okay, because this was before he got into politics.
Maybe if I would have seen the picture, yeah.
Because this is key. This is 2015, 2016, the height of everything. I was reposting stuff on Instagram back in the day. You know, Seth Rich is an American hero. People were selling T-shirts, and then the family of Seth Rich got annoyed. You know, they were saying, "Hey, we lost our son. We don't really want to be involved. Please don't." And I get it. They weren't saying, you know, one of the mom was like, "I don't like the fact that they're making this a conspiracy theory." It's like, because our son died. I get it. You know what I mean? He did that. But this idea that Anthony Weiner, out of all people, the convicted sex offender who's a sexual, by the way, whenever he moves anywhere, he has to go around telling his neighbors, "Hey, I'm a sex offender." That's his life. And then the guy who was sexting a minor is going to tell me, going to give me a lecture on I'm a nice guy. Shut the hell up. You're a fucking pedophile, bro. Get the hell out of here.
I shouldn't go to jail for this.
And I shouldn't go to jail for this. It's like, buddy, you should still be in jail.
It should be a death penalty. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't be alive. You should not be. You should still. That 15-year-old dad should have stomped you out on the New York concrete. That's what he should have done. No, but it's like,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like that's what should have happened. It's like, and I love the fact it was so ironic. I was waiting for. I wish someone had said this, but like when they were talking about like the gay stuff in schools, and like, would you show your children a photo of someone's dick? And like, I'm like, buddy, he did that to somebody. He's like, you're talking to that guy. He did that. What do you mean? Like, would he be okay with it? He did it. Like, what are you talking about?
It's like no matter what topic Patrick brings out, he's just so annoyed.
You're so annoyed.
It's
You're so annoyed. Yeah. It's like, well, that's what you're saying. It's like, buddy,
it's like,
why
bro,
are you here?
He's the host. he asked the questions. Just fucking answer it. If you don't
Yeah,
like it, just walk off. That's it.
just leave. Just say, you know what, this was a mistake. This was a mistake. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. But because he wants to like say, and then like I get it, but like the next episode after that today was Chris Cuomo. Um, Now look, I don't agree with Chris's politics. Surprisingly, by the way, he said some things today, and he had a tough time with the anti-establishment part. He didn't want to admit that he was anti-establishment now. Um, he's always been interesting to me because he's part of a political dynasty. And Mario Cuomo was a long-term governor. And then Andrew
Mhm.
Cuomo was the
Right.
governor for over a decade. You know what I mean? Like, so these were big time
Right.
governors in New York history. Like, these are guys that when you 50 years down the line, you're going to be talking about them. Mario Cuomo
Yeah.
definitely, and then Andrew Cuomo. Like, they're big time people. You know what I mean? When you've been the
Mhm.
governor of a state in one important like New York for over 10 years, come on, that's history books. And
Sure. Yep.
then you're married to the Kennedys. Andrew Cuomo was married to a Kennedy, and then obviously divorced now. And then COVID happens, and he's a big time star. And then the fall and rise. That's a story. You know what I mean? That's a big deal.
Mhm.
And then Chris Cuomo comes along, and he's not like Andrew. Now Andrew, like I didn't know this, but Andrew's 13 years older than Chris.
Damn. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
that's a lot. That's a lot. So
Long. Yep.
yeah, that's a big time difference. So it was interesting to hear. It was like, he did not want to be in politics. Chris did not want to be a politician. He did not want to be a lawyer. He didn't want to go to law school. He wanted to be kind of what he is now. He's kind of like he's like a meathead. You know what I mean? Like he likes lifting weights. He likes working out. He likes talking shit, and he likes being on TV. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's what he's about. He doesn't want to be in politics. He wants to be able to give his opinions out and talk shit and like lift weights and show off that he's strong. You know what I mean? That's the type of guy
Mhm.
he is. So it's interesting to me because he's from a political dynasty, and he's able to see things from a different way because he's far more common than his older brother is. You know what I mean? Like he's
Okay.
kind of a man of the people, where he's saying that, like, I go to the gym and I like protein shakes. Yeah, and guess what? I like talking shit. You know what I mean? I like walking around. So I don't care. You know what I mean? That's who he is. So it was interesting to me because they're both liberals. Anthony Weiner, and then
He did.
and then Chris Cuomo. And then Chris, like, they start off, they hit it off. You know what I mean? They hit it off. They hit it off. Like you'll see it. Watch that episode. It's like they got along so well. It was like, no, I want to talk to you guys. Like, you guys are great. Like, you guys are interesting. Like, I get it. Like, we disagree and you disagree. It's fine. But like, I don't want to. I want to be able to, like. And Chris said, like, I want to be able to end. Like, it can't be all about gotcha and trying to, like, grill somebody and trying to, like, get them and
Right.
roast them. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to have fun and dialogue and talk. And yeah, we'll disagree. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, obviously. And like that's what I liked. And so I'm not gonna spoil it if you didn't watch it. I guess people should. We're gonna put the links down below so people watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, no. Go. You can go ahead and say what you gotta say. I mean, later regardless.
No, well, Chris was pretty much saying that he does not believe that there was one shooter in the JFK assassination, and that he doesn't understand why no one has. Well, he kind of gets why. He kind of said why, but he doesn't understand what the reason would be, other than that people would look bad. But there's no point because everybody who would look bad is dead. You know what I mean? As to why they don't release the
Mhm.
JFK files,
Mhm.
and I was like, holy shit, this guy is saying it. This guy, the guy who had a prime time show on CNN, it's CNN, it doesn't really matter, but it's CNN. He's saying this. It's like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Right.
And then, he struggled with the anti-establishment parts, and he didn't want to admit that he was anti-establishment because obviously, his brother was establishment. The Cuomos are part of the establishment. They're their own little wing. They're part of the state government side. They're big time people. They're big. They're a big deal.
Yeah. I think people have a hard time being Chris if people were to say that I am anti-establishment. when his brother is the opposite.
His brother's the opposite. Now, hey, they're not well liked anymore, so they can't afford to be anti-establishment.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like RFK Jr. It's like you're not in the club anymore, buddy. You're not in the club. They don't like you anymore. They don't like him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like him. Now all of a sudden there's a new article by what's it called? The JFK's grandson, um Caroline Kennedy, who's the daughter of JFK. She's the ambassador to Australia, and she's establishment. She's establishment. She's what's left of the Kennedy clan in the establishment. She's a pawn. The Kennedy family has been reduced to literally being a pawn of the big time establishment players. They're still, members of the family are still
Wow.
in it. All the members of the family are establishment. They have a big, they have a voice, obviously, but not like they used to have. And so the grandson of JFK comes out and said that he's a joke. RFK Jr. is a joke, and he's my cousin. It's like, buddy, you're 30 years old. Shut the fuck up. That's just what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? Nobody knows you. Your last name's not
Right.
even Kennedy because the daughter got married to someone else, and so she took the other guy's last name. They're like Schlossenberg. It's like, who gives a shit about Schlossenberg? I get your grandpa was JFK. You're not a Kennedy. You don't have the name. Bobby Kennedy Jr. Now that's a name. You know what I mean?
Bobby Kennedy Jr. Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Fitzgerald or Francis Kennedy. Now that's a junior. That's a name. Joseph Patrick
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy. That's a name. You know what I mean? Like that's a name. That's what we want. We want those. Not the hand me down. Not the second, not the used edition. We don't want that. Yeah, nobody wants a sequel.
I mean, like when you look at Chris Cuomo, when you were at CNN, obviously
I loved him.
really, really hated when he was at CNN. No,
No,
like
I
so, like
didn't like his
if you were
show.
if you were to be with him, like outside of politics and all that, he can be like the nicest guy out there. I can actually see that.
Yes, that's my point. Like he's a
I
real
can see
like
that.
he's likable. To me he comes
Yeah,
off
I
as
can see
likable.
that.
If
Yeah.
you can, and I hope people do this. Like I know conservatives don't like him because Don Lemon is his friend. Well, they're not friends anymore, but Chris kind of talked into about this. I'm not gonna spoil it. Go watch it.
It's really hard to tell how Don is outside,
Now Don Lemon is gay and a faggot. Who gives a shit?
but Chris, it's easy to tell how Chris is outside of politics.
He's likable. He's likable.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. It's like, dude, if you can put politics aside, and please do, because I want to return to a point where we can, talk to people, not just say like, "Oh, you're a liberal, I hate you." It's like, no, we give people
Yeah,
conservatives
you're a
give you guys
liberal.
a chance, but you guys are insane. But it's like I want conservatives to live by that. Give them a chance. It's like I feel like getting a beer with. I don't think he drinks. I don't think he drinks anymore. But like I feel like getting a beer or like getting a slice of pizza with Chris Cuomo would be fun. I feel like it would be fun. I feel like if you worked out with Chris Cuomo, that would be fun. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it'd be fun. No,
No, I can see that. I get that for sure. Yeah.
yes or yes, yes. It's like I feel like that way. But
Yeah.
Anthony Weiner,
Yeah.
it's like I want to run over Anthony Weiner. I want to like push him over the Goethals Bridge.
Do more. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, it's like, dude, and he's annoying, and his voice is like, no, I don't know. What you keep
You're
saying,
a
you
scrawny
guys,
little white
you say
boy.
it to you. It's like, dude, shut up. Well, it's because he's like, and he's an Italian. He's like an Italian. Well, he's like a New York Jew. So it's like, obviously, he's
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
He's a Jewish person from New York City. Duh. No wonder he's annoying. It's like he's from Bed-Stuy. Yeah. So yeah. So Patrick's show, really big time. I mean, his show is bigger than he's. And then Anthony was like, what kind of number do you guys get? And then Adam was like, oh, we have a couple. We have we have 14,000 people are watching this live at 9 a.m. Imagine at 9 a.m. in the morning, there's 14,000 people watching this show live. I was one of them.
A lot of people don't want to wake up at that time.
Well, it's not wake up, but it's like people are working. That's 9 a.m. People have got jobs, bro. You know what I mean? Like 9 a.m. Most of America is awake. You're not you because you're lazy, but
What the fuck? I wake up.
no. But it's like most of the people are working. They can't watch YouTube, but 14,000 people are watching YouTube. Are watching this show live. They want to first of all, they want to watch value entertainment, and then they want to watch your annoying ass. Yeah, that's a big deal. And he's like, is that a big number for you
Yeah.
guys? It's like, yes, be grateful somebody wants to have you on a show. By the way, it's like, who was asking for an Anthony Weiner podcast anyway?
Probably Patrick.
Exactly. Like only Patrick. He's doing you a favor, buddy. Be grateful. Be grateful. But no, he's like
Right.
like Patrick said, and this is what I hate about Washington. He's that typical arrogant, I'm better than you. He came in there, what's your name? Oh, I asked my friends, should I give them what they want or should I like be aggressive? It's like, bro, just be yourself and come on a show, dude. Like, you're not a
Yeah, I saw
congressman.
that part.
Yeah, it's like, dude. And I'm glad Patrick told him what he is. You're a jackass. Like, don't apologize, bro. You're a jackass. That's who you are. You're an arrogant prick. Bingo. That's what everybody like him. There's thousands of people in Washington just like him, from the people serving in Congress, the senators, from the people serving in the State Department, from the people working for them, from the interns. Dude, I have met people who work for politicians as interns or staffers. They are pricks. They are arrogant, and they are jackasses. That's who they are. And if you give them power, like Anthony Weiner, and you give them a seat of Congress, they are going to become Anthony Weiner. On both sides. On both sides.
Right.
That's just who they are. That's just who they are. And that's unfortunately the people that are leading this country. Unfortunately. So, that's the unfortunate part. That's what I like what people saw. Is that's what if you want to know what the people who run this country look like, that's what they look like. That's exactly what they look like. Him. They're exactly like him. That's who Joe Biden is. That's who Hillary Clinton is. That's who Michelle Obama is. That's who Susan Rice is. That's who John Kerry is. That's who every single jackass in that administration is. That's what they're like. The gay mouse, who's the secretary, what's his name? Transportation dude. The faggoty mouse.
I don't remember the name. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
But Pete Butt.
Pete Buttcake.
Yeah, PP Butt. That's who they are. That's who they are.
Yeah, Pete Buttcake.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're like. They're jackasses. They're arrogant. They think you're better than you. They think they know it all. They think they're cool. They're not any of it, but that's who they think they are. Like, they're just jackasses. And I'm glad Patrick said that. No, I love that show, man. Like, he's gonna have he had Dave Rubin on. Like, he has a lot of people on. I think he I don't know who he's having on next week. I don't know. I didn't hear that far into it. But I'm sure the people
I'm waiting.
Be great.
I'm waiting for him to bring in Trump.
Oh my god!
He would make it. Oh my god! If we
Dude,
do that,
he's better than the Ben Shapiro show. He has better ratings than the Ben Shapiro show, which is Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro's an established conservative. He does better than Lex Friedman.
To be honest with you, I really do think that he can surpass Joe Rogan as well.
Oh my god! Now maybe he can be on his level. Let's just not say surpass.
The
biggest podcast on Spotify and YouTube is, right?
No.
It's us. Duh, you should have said it's us.
Bitch, we carry like 40, 50 views.
In Angola, which is a big deal. Anyways, but like no, but I don't know if you ever heard of it, but I think it's called like true crime or like mystery.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
They get, dude, every episode, just one episode in a day, gets hundreds of thousands of views. Hundreds of thousands of millions of views. Millions. Because they're not politics. They talk about like crime and mystery and like conspiracy theories. Like, that's what they do. And people love that.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to it, but like I know they're really popular.
I don't think I will listen to that.
You know, no, they're not political at all. They're like, they talk.
No, yeah.
Yeah, they're like things like, if you're into like unsolved crimes and like we're gonna talk about like, Jeffrey Dahmer, and we're gonna talk about like, this conspiracy of like this, who was the Zodiac killer? That's your podcast, and people love it. I know people do. They always rank in the top 3, always. Always rank in the top 3. They do better than Rogan. Yeah, but like Patrick's in the top 10.
I feel like Rogan's views is probably like slowing down a little bit.
Well, remember, because Rogan's only on Spotify. Rogan is only on Spotify, so it's difficult to get Rogan. You can't get Rogan on iTunes, or can you?
Pretty
I don't
sure
think
you
so. I think
can.
he's only on Spotify.
Wait, doesn't he have Oh no, never mind.
No, he's only on Spotify because his contract says he can only be on Spotify. No, he's only on Spotify. Yeah, but no, it's like no.
Oh wow, okay.
Patrick is a superstar, man. I love that guy. He's he's smart. He loves to read. He works out. He's intuitive. He's an entrepreneur. He has that thing where, and I only see this in I've only seen this. I've seen this in my life personally in people, and I've seen this with certain people. They can read people as soon as they walk in a room. They don't need to know them. As soon as you walk in a room, they sense they can get the vibe. They don't need to talk to them. They can sense the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And they know who they are. And that's Patrick. And that's Joe sometimes. That's Trump. And I've seen that in my lifetime from people. I've seen them where they can see who someone is just by being around them. I can like this guy's no good. And Patrick has it. It's like I see this guy walk into a room, that guy's no good. Careful with him. He's good. I'll talk to him. You know what I mean? That vibe. People don't have that. Nobody has it. It's unique. It's very unique. And I've seen it. I've seen it in action
Yeah,
or in person. And Patrick has it. And no, he's a superstar, man. Like, and what I love is that like, look, I'm a nobody, but I think I have an eye for talent. I think I've seen talented shows and I've seen them skyrocket. I have nothing to do with them going up, but like, I see people have talent. He has, he's doing really good now. It's scary how much potential his show has. Like he can do
mm-hmm.
so much better, and that's great. It's amazing. And now if he had Trump on, he would so love it. He would love having Trump. Trump is his kind of guy. Trump is his kind of guy. You
Oh,
know
yeah,
why?
sure, yeah.
Because they're business. They're not a They're not at the core of it. And if you really watch them, like I have, they're not a political show because they'll talk with anybody. But yeah, they lean right, and yeah, they're right wing. But they what they really love is the game. They love the game. They love the competition. They want to hear, and that's what they were trying to get to with Anthony, but he didn't want to talk about it. He was so like on edge, It's like he made a mistake. And I hope people tell him like, dude, you made a mistake, and it's a fatal mistake because you could have come off as like a competitor because Patrick wanted to play like you remember like he started off saying that like, dude, one thing about you that's unique is that you're a fighter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of is like he is like you are a fighter. You fight through it. If you're a sex offender and you're trying to run for office and you're trying to get back on radio, you're resilient. You're a fighter. You know what I mean? You don't
Right.
give up. That's what this guy is. But he doesn't want to. Like he fought it. He didn't. He was fighting Patrick. Don't fight Patrick. Fight the people. You know what I mean? Fight on the radio
Mm-hmm.
on your radio show. But it's like he loves the competition. He likes the marketing. He likes the business. He likes sales. That's who Patrick is, and I like that. I like it. Now I'm not into sales, but I like people who are into sales. They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has so much potential. And if he brings Trump on, Trump's gonna love him because Trump's a salesman. He loves to sell. He loves to market. Trump is marketing. Trump is his own marketer. I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
selling you MAGA.
if you get two businessmen in that one show, it's gonna be a blast for them.
Oh, and I love he had Charlie on, and Charlie Kirk was talking about like what if Trump was in the room. I don't know if you saw that episode with Charlie Kirk
I saw the
last
episode.
week.
Yeah,
You saw that one?
yeah, I saw that.
And then he was
Yeah, I
talking
saw it.
about like, he was talking like when Trump's in the room, when Trump's in the room and you're talking with Trump in a room full of people, he makes you feel like you're the only person in the world right now. And when he comes in
Mm-hmm.
the room, he would say, "Hey Patrick, all these beautiful women, what are you running here? A modeling agency?" And it's like, yeah, that's totally Trump. And yeah, I'm like, and I saw like it was like Patrick was blushing and like Adam was blushing. It's like, oh my God, Trump. It's like, yeah, but yeah, he would love you guys. Dude, imagine Trump on there.
Right.
Like Patrick just be smiling the whole time, and Adam would have to smile. Because I remember when that one time Adam was talking about like he saw Trump at UFC, and he was like, "Holy shit, I've never
Mm-hmm.
seen this happen before." Like everybody got up and was like, "Holy shit!" Like the whole atmosphere changed. It was Trump and Mike Tyson and Joe Rogan,
Right.
and Bill Burr, and this and Mel Gibson. That was awesome. So yeah, no, I love Chris Cuomo. I love that episode. Great episode. Great episode. Because you know what? He comes off likable. Great discussion. They met for the first time in person and they left as friends. That I love. I love that. I love that. I love that. So no,
Yeah, I
it's
like
a
that.
big
Yeah, I
show.
like that.
It's a great show. I really recommend people watch it. It's a great show.
Kind of need,
Um,
kind of need more of that in today's society.
yeah, because it's like our show is political. His show is political because the people he brings on are political, but he's really about business. He's really about that sales and marketing. Because if you actually watch a lot of his content, most of Patrick's content is sales. You know, motivation, how to be a better man, how to be a better person, how to go out there and hustle. That's really what Patrick's content is. I don't really watch that side because I don't really like sales like that, but I respect it. Like I told you, I respect anybody who does something I would not want to do. Doctors, firefighters, you know,
Porn
people
star,
who throw
porn star.
the male porn stars, yes. And then I would never, I don't want to do that. But it's like the gay ones, I don't like it, but I respect you. And it's like and then the people who throw out the trash and the people who yeah, I respect that. I wouldn't do it. Doesn't mean people like shit on people who do that kind of stuff, dude. I don't like you do it. I wouldn't. I respect that. You know what I mean? I respect it. But no, it's like
Right.
you want do you have anything you want to talk about before we end this thing? Before we wrap up?
My man, I really enjoyed the episode with Patrick and Anthony Weiner. But yeah, we are gonna put the link below just so you guys can watch it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's really good.
Yeah,
But no,
watch
no,
that. Watch it with Chris Cuomo. Watch the Alex Jones. Watch that show. Watch us and watch them. If you only watch two podcasts, watch them and watch us. That's it. That's it. Just watch them and watch it.
yeah, and just bear with us because I just moved in and still working out with the whole internet stuff because apparently Verizon is not available in my area, so that fucking ticked me off. No, we'll get everything situated for
No,
sure.
why would they be available in a McDonald's?
Listen, bitch, you talk hella shit. Shut up.
Well,
Don't listen to this fool.
yeah. Well. I mean, you're telling them to be racist, so.
That's right, stay racist. I forgot about that.
Well, as you said, I'm not going to say it, but what he said. I thank everybody
Say
for
it.
listening to us. Audio only listeners. We appreciate you guys there on Spotify, Samsung Podcast, TuneIn, iHeart, iTunes. If you're in iTunes, give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, tell your friends, not your friends, tell Anthony Weiner. I'll have him on the show. I guess we'll talk about like the Clinton body list next in the next episode, or you know what? Not next episode. The Patreon. We'll talk about the conspiracies in the Patreon. So if you want to hear about conspiracies, you want to hear about all that, check out the Patreon. We'll be talking about that there. Again, the link to our Patreon is down below. Patreon.com/4, the number 4, The Republic. Kenny Deep has his own gaming channel that's called Crimson Gaming. It's on YouTube. There's links down below. Check that out if you're into that. If you're into like some funny videos, he has some funny content. It's just stupid funny content. It's like not even like it's not stand-up comedy. It's just like if you want to have like laugh while you watch people like play a game or like just have it as like a background. It's great. I've done that. So check all that out. And until next time, Kenny, what do you recommend?
That you guys stay racist.
Okay, do that. And see you guys next time. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.